she is very result oriented, which is what I like about her. And that's why I've asked her to come today, because we need people like her to keep us all on the right track. So she's extremely brilliant, and she was a founding president of in the internet business for Sify. And Sify was one of the first IPOs India had on the Nasdaq, for especially in that area, an internet area. And she is also an alumnus of two very fine institutions, IIM Ahmedabad and also University of Calcutta. So welcome, Padma. Thank you very much for accepting our request to come and speak to the startups. So as I explained to you earlier, you just give us a quick, maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever you fancy, on what do you look at co-founders and what are the things you sort of should look out for co-founders, and then the group will just start asking us questions and we'll go from there.
Right. Thank you very much, Muthu. That was an introduction that is well beyond my merits. And hello and welcome to all of you. I'm sure over the course of this call, I'll get to know each and every one of you individually. And at some time in the near future, I hope I can meet you all personally. There's nothing like being, in the same room at proximity talking to each other. This is a poor substitute. So since Muthu's already given you a rough background of my background, let me just add to that by saying that post Vergiltech, I spent something like 15 years with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, first nationally and then globally, working on multiple projects, handling multiple initiatives, initially on health and development, and subsequently on vaccine and drug development. And I continued to be associated with them full-time until about 2014. And then after that, on a part-time consulting basis, even now I get reached out to once in a while for an opinion or, to participate in something or to give my inputs. So that's, I have spent a fair amount of time in health and health tech. So that's just to add to it. Now, Muthu gave me a leading question. So maybe I should just pick up with that. What do I look for when I'm looking at a startup? See, this is a tough one to answer because it's situational, but there are, I think, multiple things that most investors look for. They look at the founding team. What's the background of the founding team? What is the chemistry between the founding team is something that I actually find interesting. It's obviously not evident in any one single call, but over time, that becomes really important. Then what is the space the startup is involved in? And are there many funded entities? If there are many, say 9 or 10 funded entities in a similar or adjacent space or the same space, then I look at the startup and think, okay, you're the 11th. What's going to be so unique about you? Then other things that I like to look at are, what is the traction? What is the energy and the drive that the team brings together to put this through? Take this. Do they have what it takes to survive? The ability to survive is, I think, the single most persist, survive, call it what you will. That to me is the single most important quality. It's not IQ, but it is EQ plus ability to persist and survive, to somehow evolve and push on and somehow come out successful at the end, not to give up. So these are roughly, I would say, top of the mind things that I look for. But as you guys start asking me questions, I'm sure you will probably elicit a lot more out of me. Is that okay with you, Muthu? Can I now hand it back to your participants?
Yes, and they can ask you questions. So you can post the questions in the chat box, and I can ask if you have any issues. Or I actually
prefer you to speak up.
Yeah, I actually prefer you to unmute and ask Padma directly. So we can start off with a question. If nobody wants to start, I will start first, and then people can join as they come in as we go. If anyone got a question, please unmute and ask. Okay, usually it takes a little few minutes to get
everyone. So maybe I should give you a little more, let's say, kindling with which to build the fire. So if you wanted to know what's my investment track record, I probably have about 15 or 16 investments to date. I'm pretty eclectic about the kind of investments that I make. So I have investments in what you would call pure tech companies, also investments in physical, businesses like, a retail business, also investments in health or, digital health, investments in financial services, tech startups. So I'm pretty education. I'm pretty open to almost anything, and I have a special fondness for well-directed, machine learning and AI. But I feel that that peak is now coming to a plateau.
Okay, cool. I think we can take questions. I hear there's a question. So please go ahead and ask that question. Unmute Vergiltech before you can ask.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for joining.
Tell us your
Allowing me.
name so we get to know you,
Shivang.
because I don't know everyone on the call. So
Hello.
please tell us your name when you start.
Yeah. My name is Shivang, and I'm the co-founder of Humor Baba. So it's a next generation fashion technology store. So we are building AI and machine learning in apparel technology, and we are also launching nanotechnology coated apparels that are helpful for healthcare and all those things. So I wanted to ask one question. What the issue that my team is facing right now is like during this COVID-19, has this affected the funding scenario in India, or is there are angel investors less likely to invest in startups right now, like in early stage startups like ours?
Shivang, very nice to meet you, and very interested to learn that you have two lines of business which are quite different actually. One, I think you mentioned, was AI driven for fashion technology, which I assume will be something like try this on or try different angles with this dress or
Yes,
this
ma'am.
jewel or something. And the other is the nanoparticle, which I look at as a material science business. But great to hear that you're into both, and maybe we'll come back and hear a little bit more about those later. But to answer your question, I think there was an initial lull in March, after the lockdown was announced, March, April. But I'm now finding, I'm a member of the Chennai Angels, I'm now finding that almost every week, good startups.
Yeah, we just lost her. Just we'll ask her to repeat. Don't worry. We lost you, Padma. There, are you able to hear us?
I think you must call her on the phone and tell her to log back on. Log out
Yeah,
and log in.
I think so. She might have to log out and log in. That works. Let me just do that. I think she's doing that, but I'm calling her. Yeah, you just log back in again. No problem. It'll work. Great. Super. She come back in now. She's trying to get back in. There she's back. Yeah, on
Yeah,
mute.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shivang, sorry, I'm not sure if you heard the second part of my answer. It is to say that, are a bit in March and April, I think there was some apprehension and a lack of, let's say, will to invest. But as we have come to realize that the COVID-19 situation is here for us to say it will be normalized one way or the other, I'm now glad to say that as part of the Chennai Angels, we see something like 5 or 6 good quality startups every week, and maybe about 1 to 2 startups are getting funding every month, maybe even more, depending upon whether we co-fund with another entity or not. So to answer your question, I don't think it's driven investors away. One thing it has done is to privilege digital over physical for obvious reasons. Did that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
And also the larger companies are buying, because one of the ones I done an investment is only through Chennai Angels and Kiritsu Forum. TVS just acquired them. So
That's great.
even the bigger ones are playing a bigger role. So So I think it is not an issue because it's a good time to look for investment anyway. Just for that. Okay, there's some questions in the chat box. Sumitra, you can unmute and ask Padma directly.
I saw
Thank,
that.
thank
Hi,
you, sir.
ma'am. Okay. Go ahead, please.
So, what you look from a founder before you mentor them, ma'am?
Uh, okay, so there is an index which I think investors talk about amongst themselves. Is this founder mentorable? It doesn't mean that he has to be some kind of sheep who has to be led by his nose. It is more, is he receptive to feedback? Is he, does he have the ability to absorb something new, turn around, and then implement it? Those are important qualities. But above all, as I told you, I think the ability to keep persisting, and if necessary, to turn on a dime, to pivot, those are all the things that one looks for in the founder. Clearly, of course, if they had a prior track record, it's good to have, great. But such founders typically don't require that much mentoring. It's the founders who don't have a prior track record that you're talking about mentoring, right? Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am. Yes,
yeah,
ma'am.
yeah. So in that case, since there isn't a prior track record, I think what we try to look for is this mentorable quality, which essentially means, does he listen, does he understand, and is he able to then adjust his thinking accordingly? Is he nimble on his feet? And above all, is he persistent? That's my view. So, a good entrepreneur has to be really, really persistent.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. There's the next question. Go ahead, unmute and ask the question. Pratishta, unmute and ask. No problem.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, ma'am. My name is Pratishta. We
Yeah.
briefly met earlier. My question is around the conflicts that co-founders usually have after the honeymoon period is over. So, what are some of the issues that they need to sort of clarify and discuss before starting up in terms of ownership, shares, or roles, responsibilities? What are some of the issues that they should discuss initially, ma'am?
Yeah. So the way you're talking about this, I assume that these are founders who have come together on a dating kind of program. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's right.
These are not founders with the track record of having been in engineering college together or having worked on some other project in a company together. These are people who are just
Ma'am, some of them come together as good friends, but then it doesn't really translate to good business sometimes. But then some people just come out of the blue.
yeah
And
yeah
your thought on both, ma'am?
yeah. See, typically, if you're coming in with a certain degree of joint work or study history, there's that much more emotional understanding of each other, emotional intellectual understanding of each other, and the ability to hold that valuable and therefore work around things. When you're coming in cold, you've got to build that, and that takes time to build. Now, to a certain extent, you can set around all kinds of strictures, like this is my role, this is the shares, this, what you own, what I own, what we will give, these checks you will sign, these checks I will sign, or these people will report to me, those people will report to you. You can lay all of this down, but when the rubber hits the road, you will find that it is not always possible to stick to this. And so that's a fact in the reality of life. And I think the only way you can handle this, what I would recommend is, I think, having very frequent meetings, say in the initial stage of the enterprise, maybe once every 2 days, just sitting and saying, okay, what have you done these 2 days? Then make it once every week. Have that, one-on-one or or 3-on-3, whatever it is. If it's 2 people or if it's 3 people, just sit together. Are we going in the right direction? Just ask those questions, set an hour aside. That helps build the understanding. That's my short answer to that. Any reaction? Pratishta?
So the only question, communication is the key, definitely, ma'am. Do you
Yes.
think any co-founder agreements are required at initial stages? Do you think that's a good idea to have either?
See, they're like, it's always good to have them. They're a little bit like prenuptial agreements, before you get married. You can have any number of agreements in place, but finally it's the spirit, not the letter, that drives the relationship. So always going back with reference to this is what we said in that code document may not be conducive to a positive relationship. Instead of saying that, saying, hey, look, things have changed. Maybe we should go back and change this in the code document. Instead of saying, this is the code document, this is what we said, this is what we will do.
That's an excellent answer, Padma. I think that's what happens with many of these people, because the document will change as the company changes as well.
Yes.
Excellent
Yes.
answer. Incubation cell, I'm not sure who that is. Come on, Kalani, please go ahead, unmute and ask.
Uh, Ma'am, this is Dinagaran from Incubation Cell.
Right.
Ma'am, what you actually look before investing, right? From that tractions or from the team, or what is it actually you look?
I think it's a combination of many things. First of all, as I said, I want to know whether this is a space where there are 20 other well-funded participants. If it's a very fashionable area and, every other person, every other VC and, angel investing group, seed investing group is throwing money at it and there are 20 well-funded guys and you're the 21st, I will take a step back. So I'm being really honest with you. Then these are all filters. The filters are not necessarily, be all and end all, but these are filters that I'll apply. Then second, I'll look at, okay, the product or the market that he's remember that any company will maybe start developing a product or a service or a business initially. That may not be the be all and end all for that company. It'll pivot, it'll do more things, it'll change, it'll expand. But even for the first product, is there a sufficient sizable market? The market must be large in order for us to get more than just dividends on the share when the company becomes profitable. So opportunity to exit therefore happens when you have a large growing market, and which the third thing is, then do you have the capability to address that? Is your product going to address that very well? These are some of the non-people things. On the people things, I like to look at the founders. What is the chemistry between the various founders, and how competent do they sound and confident when they're talking about their business. And will they go the long mile? Will they persist? Does that give you an idea? I don't know your name, so I have to call you IIT incubation cell.
Yeah,
Dinagaran.
Okay.
Yeah, Dinakaran.
Very good.
Thank you.
We have another Archana in the chat box has puts question. Archana, you can ask Padma directly. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. Hello, ma'am. This is Archana. So just want to know what should one look in for a co-founder, ma'am? So if I'm a founder, so what should I look in for a co-founder to have with you? Yes, ma'am.
It's a good question. So Archana, this is typically, are you a technology person or are you a business person?
No, ma'am. I work as a program manager.
You work as a program manager. Okay, so you're looking for, if you have to make co-founders come together, what do you look for? Okay. Yeah, typically it should be preferably, somewhat complementary skills. If one person has a deep technology background, it's better for the other person to have a strong business, sales, commercial background. So but with enough understanding of technology, so the two can work together well. You should also look for, personalities which, will be able to, if both are type A, for example, it's actually quite hard to make a match. If the personalities are able to get along well, that makes another big difference. Did I answer your question, or you have any more lingering doubts or lingering questions?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This is fine, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Essentially complementary.
Ranjan, go ahead and you can ask. I have a issue to be resolved. My question is, okay, you want me to ask it? Okay, fine. He's got connectivity problem. He wants me to ask. My question is, being a co-founder of multiple startups simultaneously, is it a good trend for the company, for the investor?
Being a co-founder for multiple startups.
Multiple startups simultaneously, not one after another. We talk about maybe parallelly doing these startups. So he's asking, is it good? Is it a good trend for the company? First question. And the second part is it good for our investor?
Certainly no investor will be very pleased to see a parallel entrepreneur. A serial entrepreneur is okay, but a parallel entrepreneur is somebody who's in, half time here, quarter time there, and quarter time there. That's what it describes, right, Muthu?
Yeah. Okay. So someone.
I don't know how you can do justice to, three different things, and because starting a startup is a matter of great effort. Enormous effort. You have to throw everything into it. You have to persist, as I said, and therefore, if you're going to spread yourself thin into three, then I would find that as an investor, I certainly am, very suspicious. Well, I'm skeptical about it. For the company, I don't think it does much good, because none of the companies then get the full attention of the person. For the person, I don't know what it does for him.
I think that's it's a fair point. Depending on what stage you are, I guess if you are a young
Very
entrepreneur,
good. Yeah.
I,
I mean,
I don't think you
that's,
should be in multiple stages. I agree with you. I also
yeah.
say that to people who come to our incubators who have never done it before, don't get into
Yeah.
too many things at the same time because it doesn't help, right? Because you're not doing justice to your other partners. One.
Yeah.
Secondly, you're also not doing a good thing for your own organization and to your own self. So I think that's a fair point. I think they need to focus. I have another question. Sivy, and like, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Please go ahead and ask Padma the question.
Hi, ma'am. Hi again. So I wanted to ask, like, we started a company during our college days, okay, and now we are passed out, and we find it difficult to connect with investors or VCs because we don't have as much corporate network as other people in the startup industry. So what do you suggest an early stage startup like should how should we start looking for investment? How to connect with investors in our field, and how to go about that?
Okay, back. Good to see you back, Shivang. So, have you actually applied to any, funding groups?
Ma'am, I've made a list of a lot of VC firms and syndicates basically. So I applied, like there's a Let's Venture, you might have heard.
Yes, there's
Yeah.
venture. Yes.
So we applied for Let's Venture also, but they said that we don't get early stage startups in our platform. So I tried on there's one syndicate called I don't remember the name. So I applied for that also, and there are many other VC firms that we applied,
Angel
like
list. Yeah.
yeah, Seed Fund and what was the name?
Yeah.
Excel,
Don't.
Excel, and all
Yeah.
those.
So, are you pre-revenue?
No, ma'am. We have launched. We have done a beta test. We are doing revenue regularly. Like we are having our online sales. We have a good revenue like that can sustain the company. Now we want to grow. We want to build an office. We need more employees in our company,
Yeah.
and
So,
we
I'm a
basically need
little
to scale up
surprised.
our manufacturing and inventory.
Yeah, I'm a little
Yes, ma'am.
surprised at Let's Ventures answer because that's typically the kind of companies that they do look at. So maybe you applied to them at a much earlier stage and not when you were, mature. I would suggest applying to them. You should also feel free to apply to each of the angel networks in the country. The Chennai Angels here, right here in Chennai. There's Mumbai Angels, and then there's Indian Angel Network, Hyderabad Angels. There are lots of angel networks. So even
And
if you're,
where are you from, Sivam? Are you from Chennai or which incubator?
I'm from VIT Vellore Incubator.
Okay, you can write to me or you can ask Bala to connect you to me. No problem.
Okay, sir.
Because we are part of the. I mean, HTIC is part of that Bioness incubator. So no problem. You can write to us if you need any help. We will surely connect you.
Actually, we were sending mails out to many investors, but we didn't get response as we expected from anyone.
No, you need to target. You just randomly sending people don't respond. So if you sort of talk to one of us and we send an email, usually somebody will look at you. Okay, so don't
and
worry.
speaking for Chennai Angels, I can tell you that any mail that comes in is attended to by some member of the secretariat. And so typically, if there's even a format which says, okay, what are you doing? What's your current traction? Something about if you're asked to send it in a format, and then you'll always get a response. Either we're not interested because, or come back to us later because, or we're interested. Let's have a chat.
Yeah. So generally people reply, but I mean, maybe you didn't hit the right people, but it's okay. Come to us. We try and help you. You can talk to Bala. He knows most of them too. Okay.
Mhm.
I
Yes,
hope
sir.
that helps.
And good
Another
luck.
question. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, a lot of people call themselves IIT Incubator and all that. So next one is called Addicted. So Pixel Addicted, please introduce yourself and ask us the question. Now you know why I asked them to ask the question. So at least we get their real names.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am and sir. This is Art Chaudhary from VIT Vellore, and I am the part of the technology business incubator from VIT. So my
Okay.
question is like I recently started my company seeing the gap in the drone industry, and just in a month we have got amazing sales and we have started even selling up our products right on our website. And the thing is, what happening is for now is we are in short of capital. Like we have the persons getting our products, but for getting the products from the different companies, because we don't manufacture, so we need to get some of the products from the different companies. So for that we don't have the capital. So how to find the investors?
I actually missed the full parts of.
Yeah, I also missed the last bit, so maybe you repeat the question again, please.
I'm audible right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, like, I recently started my company, and the thing is, we have getting an amazing sales and amazing response from the people, and even we are selling up our products. But the thing is, we are in short of capital. Like, we want to make our company up and scale it, but we don't have enough capital to how to find the investors in the right way and how to attract them for our company.
I think Padma is there. Padma is there.
Yeah. I can't understand what's going on actually. Must be like 3 people doing Zoom calls at the same time at home.
Soulmate is connected.
So I
Battery full.
you want me to tell you the question? He's finding it difficult to raise funding. So he's asking what should he do to be able to raise money.
Yeah. So are you pre-revenue, post-revenue?
They're in the drone industry, and now
Yeah,
we're
drone
getting
industry. But even in the drone industry, I know companies which are already generating money. So are they pre-revenue or
Pre-revenue, pre-revenue, ma'am. Pre-revenue, ma'am. It's
And you're an
pre-revenue.
incubator.
Yeah, ma'am.
in VIT.
Yeah, I know the VIT incubator. So
Ma'am, we are getting an amazing sales. Like, we are getting an amazing response from the people. But the only thing is in short of capital
and you need the capital for
for our
building your
company.
pieces.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Yeah, no, offhand, I'm not. See, the problem is most people will say, let's see a little bit of proof of the pudding. Let me see your first 2 clients. So even if you can go out and get, let's say, 2 or 3 clients to sign up and say, yes, we're going to purchase as soon as your products are available, that will help you a great deal. Today, you don't have the product. I mean, you don't have a physical product. You only have the designs, right?
Ma'am, we have the product. We are selling up our products, but now we want to scale up. Like, just happening is what is happening is in India there are only two of the companies making the FPV product which we are developing. And the thing is, for the people who are ordering from our site, we are taking them a time of like 15 to 16 days to get the product delivered. So
Right.
just due to the short of money, we need to get the money from first the person who is ordering, then we need to order
Procure.
from the
Yeah.
people, and
Yeah, so
then we
it's a
need to
working
construct
capital.
our.
Yeah, it's a working capital issue. Then that's what you're referring to. You don't need the money because you need to expand the business. Right now, you need the money to service orders.
Exactly, ma'am. Because we are the persons who are assembling up the drones, making up as the person need it, like in a customizable way. If they want it for agriculture, if they
Yeah,
want it for the photography, if they want
yeah,
it for
yeah,
the
yeah.
FPV racing. So according to the needs, we are making, and we are getting an amazing response. Like for now, we have already done a sales of rupees 1.2 lakhs in a month just of the starting of the company. We have around
Right.
2,800 unique visitors in a site in just a month.
Right. So, Muthu, one good option might be to explore if there's any working capital finance that they can get based on the orders that they have on hand.
Correct. So VIT has their internal funds. Maybe you should talk to them on that, whether they can do that for you. And
Or assist
of
them with
course,
the bank or something like that.
yeah, so that they should be able to do. So if they're not able to help you, you drop me an email and I'll see what I can do for you. Because
Sir, like, what's your email ID? Can you just let me know, ma'am? Or
yeah,
sir?
Yeah, offline, please. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah.
Muthu can introduce us.
So you just connect with us. You have my team's email. So you just send us the email. If not, you ask Bala. Bala knows me very well. So he'll give you my email. There's no problem. Okay? Yeah,
Okay,
no
sir.
issues at all.
Okay.
Next question, Sumitra, please unmute and ask, please.
So, ma'am, what is a good number of founders? If a startup have a 2 founders or a 3 founder, what is a good number of founders?
I think it's hard to give an upfront answer to that, but I think
We lost Padma again, so just give her a chance to. Wait, she'll come back. She knows that she has to log out and log in, so don't worry, she'll come. She needs to log on, I think. So let's just see what to do. We call her.
Yeah. Number of questions, this is Shankar here. Number of questions related to really people at sea trying to find funding or trying to find a route to funding and so on. I think TiE Chennai is a very good forum where we constantly keep on educating young startups, one to network amongst themselves, to learn from each other's experiences, and also to help with questions like this. So, it is what they're while to actually become members of TiE Chennai is what I think.
Yes. So there's Padma, we lost you again. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute. You're unmute.
I think Shankar picked up the slack very well for me. I heard the last
so
part,
that's,
but
I think hopefully that funding question is answered. But Sumitra's question was, what is a good number for founders?
Founders,
2,
yeah.
3,
And I was
4,
trying
5.
to say that, you can't a priori say any one good number is great. But I do, my gut feel says 2 to 3 is pretty good to have. More than that, you're then trying to, areas of responsibility start overlapping in the initial stage, and that's difficult to manage. So someone who comes to me and says, I have 5 founders, that's a little hard.
Yeah. Now the next question is
next question, go on.
It's quite hard. Vishnu Trading, please unmute and tell us your name, please. Vishnu Trading. Okay, I'll read the question out. How should my co-founders and I split my company equity? That's $1 million question. You can start, and then Shankar and I'll try to help you out.
I can start. Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you, so do you and your, it depends on a whole lot of things. Do you and your co-founder know each other from before? In which case, you'll already have some, emotional equation with which to build this out. Do you and your co-founder, are you new to each other? In which case, you'll sit down and argue like lawyers. So obviously, the idea would be, if you should think it's 50-50, if both of you are putting in the same degree of effort. But that would be ideal. But you clearly have, is there some incident that you want to bring up and illustrate this? You must unmute, Abdul.
The guy who asked you was Vishnu.
Vishnu.
Trading.
I thought it was, okay, Vishnu.
Vishnu Trading, just tell us your name so we don't get it wrong. I think he is not there.
No, I saw Abdul on the top trying to speak.
Oh, you did? But on my thing, it shows Vishnu Trading. So I think that person's name is Vishnu Trading. But okay, we can go back to that question. I think Shankar has already said it's useful for you all to join TiE because TiE runs regular programs. Yes, right now maybe things are not too many programs running, but they still run some programs. So you might want to become an associate member there. You can again connect to one of us and we will do that. All of us being chartered members, we would like to help. The next question Nikunj has asked, but it's in Hindi written there. I can't read Hindi, so somebody will have to help me. It says respected sir, and then it's in Hindi. Can anyone read Hindi? Maybe one of these Bajista or somebody can read it.
Is there a question? Okay. Respected sir, मैं आपसे निवेदन करूं कि
Oh, you can read.
What? Agreed.
Whatever that means.
Agreed. I don't know what that is.
Okay. If we don't know that, we'll just skip it. If we don't know, we'll skip it.
Good morning, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yes, please. Go for it.
Yes, sir. I am Abdul Kader from Kadalur.
Please go
Hello?
for it. I have
Yeah.
one question. Go for it.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Audible?
Yes.
Sir, one imported human one material is essential for one healthy product. One healthy product. This is only imported product. I will design it, but this is not manufacturing for.
Abdul, we
Hello?
can't get you. We are losing you, so you need to try and get a better reception and try the question again, please.
Oh, okay, sir.
Now we can hear you. Go for it.
Hello?
Yes, go for it.
Okay.
Maybe you can type it in the box and I will read it for Padma. That's not a problem. You type it in the box and I will read it for Padma to respond.
So I can see the box myself.
Yeah. So you can type there while I ask the next question. Padma, I have a question for you. How about cross-border founders?
The cross-border enterprise used to be the flavor of the year for many years. If you remember,
Mm.
between 2005 to 2012, everybody was building their VC funds based on we will fund cross-border enterprises.
Okay.
So that time it was favorable. I think it was more people were chasing a fashion and idea that seemed to be popular at that time. I still think that it is possible, but your biggest challenges will be
Collaborative, okay.
Working. Clearly, back office, front office, working out the equations. It'll come back to equations, human equations.
Okay. And we have Nikunj just type the full question now.
Yeah.
Since you can read Hindi, so maybe you can help me with that.
अच्छा निकुंज, I'm going to read it out. Don't laugh at my Hindi. मैं आपसे निवेदन करूं कि एग्रीटेक का एक स्मॉल इनोवेशन एवं ईंधन रहित ऊर्जा के इनोवेशन के संबंध में मुझे क्या करना चाहिए? धन्यवाद. That is, you want to ask, आपको ये पूछना है कि एग्रोटेक में क्या इनोवेशन करना है?
ईंधन रहित ऊर्जा. That means without fuel he is going to create energy. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Where did he say that?
ईंधन रहित.
ईंधन रहित. Yeah, ईंधन रहित.
Even Pratishtha, you can help out in the translation.
No, so can he can't speak?
I don't know. He's just keep on showing his screen, but he's not speaking. Sumitra, remove the screen and ask him to unmute. Remove the screen and.
आपको ये सुनाई दे रही है तो आप जरा ये अनम्यूट करके आप बात कीजिए. हिंदी में बोलिए, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है.
Shankar, what did you say it was? It was without fuel.
Nikunj, can you unmute yourself but go off the screen?
So, what I understand from the message is that I think he has a small innovation in mind and he's looking to see how he can get connected to people.
Okay.
I think that's his question. If that's your question, आपका question ये है क्या, Mr. निकुंज, की आपके पास एक innovation है और आपको कैसे start करना है और किसके साथ connect करना है? अगर वो है तो आप yes लिखिए आपके chat box में. हाँ लिखिए.
Okay, wait for him to come back to answer that. Sumitra, can
I
you remove that
question? I think he's saying. Let me translate it for you guys. So he says that he has a startup in agriculture and technology, and he's making some innovations in without some fuel. ईंधन रहित is without the fuel. Urja is energy.
Yeah.
So, fuel, non-fueled energy, like a renewable energy. Yeah, agri-tech startup. So how he think his innovation and how is this innovation going on in nowadays, and what should he do to build a company on agri-tech, agriculture and technology startup.
So that means his customers are small to medium and large farmers. So maybe this is, I don't know, Shankar, if you want to step in, but this is a large question.
आप कहाँ रहते हैं? आप जहाँ पे रहते हैं निकुंज, आप कहाँ रहते हैं? अब चैट में लिखिए.
He's putting up some presentation, I think.
ठीक है.
No, I think he's
using the Google translation. Okay.
Yes, he's put, but I don't understand why he's doing a presentation, but
up you mute.
Do a one-off. Maybe more.
Remove that presentation, please.
Yes, sir, but
it's okay. Why don't we ask?
Yeah, we ask him to speak. Okay, we take the other question first before we come back. Okay, Padma Malik, go ahead, ask your question, please. We'll wait for the next one. You go ahead and ask.
If a founder leaves
the venture,
I think if a founder leaves
the venture, after an investor gives money, how will the investor will be able to adjust, or how to handle this? I think what they're saying, what she's asking is, once it's been funded and they disappear, what do you do? One of the founders.
No, look, if both of them disappear, there's nothing much you can do.
Yeah, if they both disappear, the company is gone. But if one disappears, what do you do? She's asking.
If one disappears, that would typically have been with prior consultation with the existing founder.
Okay.
The other existing co-founder. And I would assume that there would be some, manner of reconciliation of shareholding, etc., happening between those two. And so it should be taken care of. Obviously, the investors will be concerned, but there is not that much power that they have to say, hey, you have to sit down here. Okay. All they can say, advise the other founders to say, let him stay here until he meets certain targets. And for these targets, he will get X% to the company. Okay. If he goes right now, he'll get nothing, something like that.
Okay, done. And Shankar has also said the reverse vesting clauses for exactly this purpose. So that would be on the agreement when the investor does. So they will have to reverse the vesting clauses. So thank you to Shankar for that. That really is helpful. Kadir has now typed his question, so I'll ask you directly. One respected sir, one health product is not manufacturer available in India. I like innovate and manufacture at India bigger. Can encourage me. To be honest, I tried very hard to understand the question. I not understand the question. I think what he means is there's a health product nobody's manufacturing in India. How could he innovate and manufacture this? Is what I think he's asking.
I think we would require more details to answer that question, no?
Absolutely, I agree with you. Maybe you drop us an email and we'll try and take it from there. Now, Sivam has got another question. Sivam, you want to ask? Please go ahead. Since you have a good connection, you can ask directly.
Ma'am, I have one question.
Yes, go for it, Pixel.
Sir, just because I have been started up recently my company, so what is happening, some of the person asked for me the GST. So for me taking up the GST certificate is costing around 25,000 rupees. For now, as I have told before even that I don't have enough of capital to put up on this such certificate. So is there any government scheme to compensate the startup for the GST?
Government scheme for GST there isn't, but where are you doing your trading? Are you doing it within one state or are you doing all over India?
All over India. We have a e-commerce website, www.insidefev.com.
So if you have if you're all over India, you will have to pay GST. You have no choice. If you're doing only state-wise, you could have got away with, I think 20 lakhs is the limit, the bottom limit before you have to register for GST. The best person to talk about this would be to your accountant. Ask your accountant what can you do.
Sir, but still now it's a startup, as even I have told before, and when I posted up a question that we don't have enough of capital, but we are getting an amazing orders and amazing response from the people.
As startup, we keep on looking for Yeah, complaining will not get anywhere. So I think a few weeks back we had another very famous entrepreneur. He told, oh, I think it was Lakshmi, I can't remember. And if you keep on whining and things, he actually said, I hope you're not one of the winders to one of the speakers, to one of the questions. So I think we need to find solutions. Why don't we take this offline? You give me a call. You get my number of from as I speak. Somebody is calling me. So
Okay, sir. Okay, no issues.
so what I say, reach out to me and we'll see how we can help you.
Yeah, Muthu, yeah, maybe, we could help you organize a call, on all tax and related issues with somebody.
Yeah.
Sir, I will just get back to you after this session.
Yes, please.
Yeah,
Okay, no
you.
problem. Get back to me.
Yeah,
We'll see how we can help you with that. Maybe what I will do is I will get one of my other friends who's not an entrepreneur, but he's a tax consultant who can come and speak to you all, give you all advice on. So we can have one session on ask me anything on how to avoid tax.
Okay, sir.
What a bad
Okay.
title for me. I'll get into trouble. So
Okay.
we'll change.
Thank you.
Ask me anything about how to deal with tax or something. I will think about proper name.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay. So I have
So Nikunj has sent another question. It's
Yeah.
basically the same thing.
uh,
That is, some innovation he wants to do where he wants to replace fuel. Is that correct, Shankar?
No, he's basically repeated his question.
Yeah, he just repeated his question.
He's
I think
asking
you should-
But I'm
what
not
he
able to
should.
understand what the question is. Does he already have
He's,
the
he's asking what should he do if he has an agriculture technology based startup with some renewable energy focused startup, and what should he do? He's just asking that.
That's a very large question, because
Large question.
yeah, and
No,
How should he
the
start? He's basically asking how should he start.
where are you based? Where's he based?
He should join his local Thai chapter, in my opinion. Ask them all the
local Thai
questions.
Yeah.
chapter. I think he can. If he's based in UP, there is he would there'd be.
Yeah. So we will. Nico, drop us the email. We'll connect you to one of the local contacts.
So all of that. There's entire agriculture.
Yeah. So that's good. Neer, you want to ask a question or you just want to say hello? You want to ask a question? Unmute and ask, please.
Hello, ma'am. I was asking you a question. I just skipped it.
Oh, go ahead. Can I get others to ask a question too? And see when you can come back because there's some questions there and I want to maximize. I want to give everybody an opportunity. So Nitya has put a question. Nitya, ask one of the most successful lady entrepreneurs in the city. This is my up and coming entrepreneurs. So go for it.
Right.
Nitya, go ask Padma a question.
So Nitya, we are now answering Nikesh, or who are we answering? Nitya.
Nitya, yeah, we answer Nitya.
How do we craft a good elevator pitch? So this I can only answer from the perspective of practice in front of many different critics, which means that you've got to your elevator pitch is basically in 5 minutes. You have to be able to tell your story to investors in a short form, and I think therefore there are 2 or 3 parts to it. One is, are you communicating the right points? You do that by practicing in front of potential investors or people who can simulate investors. 2 is, are you communicating well? Are you articulating well? Stand in front of the mirror and do it. So I would just say you've got to do this about 5 or 6 or 7 times and keep modifying your PowerPoint or your Prezi until you feel it's good. That's the only answer that I can give you.
Okay, cool.
Guys, or not?
Nitya?
Yes, ma'am. Nice, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, we have another question. Chandra, you want to unmute?
Nutraceutical. We have to register for GST.
Yeah. No, I'm also founder director of the startup Tevanam. We had to, for nearly about 2 years, I tried to avoid GST, but when we had an income, we had to definitely go for GST because we can get back that money. It goes into our credit. And then whenever we are paying some bills, all that gets deducted from that. So that it has become a necessity, I would say, that we have to register for GST.
Yes.
Even companies who are selling us any products, they also want our GST number. So it seems to be an inevitable registration.
Absolutely. And GST is not actually disadvantageous to you. You can have input and output taxes. Often it can be beneficial. So I think it is good to register, like you say. You can't
Yes.
avoid it. You definitely have to do something about it. For sure.
Not only that, even the companies selling anything to us want our GST number because
Correct.
they get a tax benefit. So it is, I would say, totally unavoidable.
Yes.
Yeah.
Binoy, Matthew, do you want to unmute and ask a
Yeah.
question?
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Yeah.
Padma ma'am. My name is Dr. Binoy Matthew. The question that I have is, you said that you invest after looking at the team. What exactly do you look for in the team? What kind of a team should I
Is
build?
it a team which at least at this stage of the startup, well balanced, sufficient skills are there as a group to be able to take the startup to the next stage, which means that you have a salesperson, you have a good engineering head, somebody who's engineering, somebody who's sales, somebody who has a commercial quasi financial background. You look for all of that. You also look for if there is a track record, then you look at the track record. The better the track record, obviously, that counts a lot. If there isn't a track record, then at least you look for other signals to persistence and achievement. And you also look for do the team work well together. There was one presentation that I was at maybe 2 or 3 weeks back where I felt that one of the partners was doing all the talking, and when any question came up which was directed to the second partner was unable to articulate any answers, which to me was a bad signal. Another presentation that I've been at, the two founders kept disagreeing with each other. That's also bad. So good equations between the two. So I've given you 2 or 3 points. I hope that is reasonable.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Abdul, connect that question. You can take it up with my big team. I don't think it's a fair question to ask Padma, because that's an application requirement. You can talk to the big team. The big team is online.
Oh, this is the big grant. I see.
Yeah, so they will take care of it. Yeah, so they'll take care of it. Next question is, go ahead, unmute and ask the Inu8. Why do you keep always put your solution? Put your name there, it's easier, but go for it. Oh, unmute and ask.
Got it, Muthu. Yeah. How popular is the revenue share model angel investments in India, ma'am, than percentage equity share model?
Shankar, would you like to take a shot at this since you're on?
It is not popular at all. Nobody will do a revenue share model. That happens only in Shark Tank.
I because the revenue share, you can always fiddle with the accounts and show me negative.
No, not only that. First of all, you have to make revenue, you see. So therefore, there's not much value in that. Yeah. So there is no popularity for this.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Shankar. Sagar, go ahead, ask ma'am the question.
Yeah. Hi, ma'am. So my question is, we are a tech-enabled women's safety startup. We have recently been incubated at Visakhapatnam Tide Center. So our product is completely innovative in the sense that it has never been done. And we three, the co-founders, are like lacking technical capabilities, but the idea is original. Though we don't have the patent, we'll file for it later. But we are just confused as to how to go about it so that with limited money, where should we focus on? Because now, whatever the tech side is on chip making, that is system on chips, and those are really costly in fabricating those. So we are just not getting where to put the money now.
Yeah, let me play back your question. So you have the design.
Yeah,
but you don't have the access to the manufacturing.
Yeah, we don't have the access to manufacturing.
Ma'am, the manufacturing part, it takes a lot of capital investment because the size is
nobody ever builds their own. Yeah, nobody ever builds their own. Muthu, you must be having connections with Taiwan and so on. So people that you can introduce them to. So I would
actually, ma'am, ordered one prototype from China through Alibaba.
Yeah.
Though the product was really good, we are actually trying to reduce the size. We know that we can do it, but somehow we are not comfortable dealing with them. So we were thinking if we can do it in India or something.
There are people who can do in India also. So the price may be a little higher, but things are happening now in India. with all the international negativity for China. So even yesterday, somebody tweeted that the current president is making him unpopular worldwide. Is it because he's got unlimited power? So that was a news talk yesterday. So yes, connect with us. You have our details. Connect with us. We'll see how we can help you. I want to be on time, as Padma also is very particular. I will take one more question before the start of the hour. Meher Mehta, please go for it.
Yeah, we have no product filer.
Yeah, please. How you want me to read it?
So your question is that you are 3 co-founders when you formed a company, and then you didn't do a founder agreement, but you filed a design patent which has all the 3 people in it, and now one of the co-founders has left the company. How difficult? Why should it be difficult for you as a founder, as a owner of the company, to sell the product in the market? Is your co-founder who left, is he making trouble for you? Hello?
Yes.
Then in that case, you have to have some
I'm
kind of
not sure.
settlement.
We not ask him. Please answer that question. Otherwise, she won't be able to give you an answer.
See, the right way to go about it is to have some kind of agreement written up with the third guy who's on your patent, and either agree that some proceeds of revenue, say one small portion of royalty will go to him or something like that, and that solves your problem. That is, if he's giving you trouble. Otherwise, when he quit, at that point you should have made him do a quit claim to the design patent proceeds as well.
Yeah. Sumitra, can you share your email for those who want to connect with us so they can come with us? Or
Yes,
you
sir.
write to me directly, and that email I respond directly. So
Chandrasekaran has a question. She says,
yes,
2 are silent and stopped activity. Yeah, I think you definitely must. If they are stopped activity, I assume that they're not coming to office, they're not doing anything else. I mean, did they give money? I have no idea. Those are all things that you have to go over. But you should definitely have a discussion with them on what terms they, are allowed. Either you should, buy up their shares, or if they, buy portion of it, give them a sleeping interest, something like that.
Oh, I see.
And Chandra, maybe also they're not feeling well or they've lost interest. You should maybe, like I think Chandra said it earlier, co-founders and founders should always communicate with each other at least once in a blue moon. Just make sure things are going well. So they might not be talking to you.
No, the embarrassment is that the
put your email. Please go ahead.
The 2 directors are inactive now, and in the beginning they were contributing to the company. So how do we resolve this issue that at one point of time they were active and they are not active anymore in the last 1.5 years?
Right, but have you been in touch with them since?
Yes, I've been in touch with them, but they are not interested to work with this company more. So they are inactive.
Right, and have you taken them off? Have you requested that permission to take them off the directors list, etc.?
No, I
so
didn't.
Any investment, any new investment decision that you make, or any other, business expansion,
yes,
it should not require their, you should at least negotiate that you have the right to do it without their acting as a stumbling block.
No, they are not objecting to anything. The problem is they neither object nor do they participate.
So then see, look, if they bought their shares, they clearly contributed money at some point, right?
Yes.
They contributed money and they contributed time. So there is, that is what the value of their shares currently would have been at that point in time.
Yes.
So you cannot ask them. I mean, you can have a discussion with them and see whether you can buy their shares if you want full control.
Okay.
That's something that you can have with them, but you'll clearly have to compensate them for the money they invested and the value they generated with their work.
Okay. Ma'am, when we buy the other co-founder share, do we have to evaluate our company and give them compensation as per evaluation of company, or between the co-founders, there is no need for evaluation?
I think this is an accounting and a tax related question. And Muthu, what we can do is to help, we can organize someone for you at the for your next session. Would that do?
Yes.
That
Yes.
that will.
Yeah. Thank you.
Padma, thank you for so patiently answering all the questions. Sumitra has put up, I also put up the email for all the big applications and inquiry. Send it to big@htic.iitm.ac.in. Every other question, every other inquiry, please send it to Sumitra. projects.incubation@htic.iitm.ac.in. Get a response immediately. If you don't get a response, then you exchange it to me, ceo.incubation@htic.iitm.ac.in, and I will reply within a few minutes, as long as I'm not sleeping. Okay, so please check emails, and we always reply emails. So thank you very much. Please fill up the form so we know what to do next or next session. And Padma, thank you so much for so patient answering all the questions. We always upload this on YouTube channel. I hope you don't mind for those who didn't.
Oh, no, please do. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. And Shankar, thank you so much. Even though you were
And
not,
I'll connect with you later.
Today, you did a great job helping us, because often we
most welcome.
We have we need help from all of us, and I think we'll put in somebody actually for, I think, specifically for tax accounting. They had non-accounting.
Yeah, we can introduce someone to you if you want. So happy to introduce someone.
Yeah, that will be great. We can do an Hazmi session. I'll connect with you. Yeah. And thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you soon for a cup of coffee. It's been months.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you guys, and have a great evening. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.